Greetings, fam. Yes, of course, it is your host with the most one, the apostle, the prophet, the cosmic commander. Greetings, shalom, shalom alaikum, umbutu, abaragani, amani kaka, amani dada, bonjour, hola, konnichiwa, ni hao ma. Greetings, fam. Listen, we're returning now to, of course, the truth session. And I am your host with the most, the one, the apostle, the prophet, the cosmic commander. Yes, we took an extended period of time for the spring and, of course, the fall. And now we're back. And so, however, what we're doing is we're going to be changing our schedule around. Okay, fam? And we're going to be doing some different things this season. The master teacher and I and all that are going to be sharing in this program. Okay. So come on in. And we're going to have an amazing time in the truth session. So again, like I shared with you, we're going to be doing some different things this particular season. The sessions are going to be shortened. We're going to keep them to as short amount of time as possible so that you all can absorb the information that we're going to be given. Okay. So you all come on in. Let me know that you're here. Go ahead and post something on the timeline. Let me put something out here. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So we're going to be dealing with something that's going to be very powerful this particular season. And what I'm going to talk about shortly and briefly here today is going to kind of lead us into that, because I wanted to get into time travel. And I think that's very important because most people think that we can't do that. And I think that what has happened to us, that we've been given so much misinformation and disinformation. Okay? Misinformation and disinformation. We've been given so much of it that it has caused a ball of confusion. And there is so much confusion that, thank you, JP, for joining us, the Prince of Peace. They had some very important business to attend to, the Prince of Peace and the Songbird. And let's lend our prayers to them. All right. Okay. So just a second, fam. Okay. So with this, let me rewind just a little bit. So with this, again, this new concept that we're going to be rolling out, we're not going to be every Saturday. Okay. We're going to mix the Saturdays up on you to get you interested in the information. Because what we found through studying is that sometimes you can give too much of a good thing, right? And then it becomes wasteful and you really don't utilize it. You don't allow it to be applicable for you to be able to use it. Okay. So we want to do that. And also we want to acknowledge the fact that we do have a spinoff of the truth session, which is called Wind Down Wednesday, Therapy with a Sip, Grown Folk Conversation. So we also do that every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We do that Facebook Live also on YouTube. So you can join us there. Also, we have an amazing time there. So you may want to join us there also. So now without further ado, what we're going to be dealing with today, quickly, is reset. I want to talk about reset real quick here because it's very important, because we have been misinformed. There was someone out there telling all the religious people, church folk, that the rapture was going to happen, right? So, of course, the rapture didn't happen. When people awakened, they were still here in this particular realm, okay? So again, that's what? Misinformation. And so, and this is what tends to happen, that we get misinformation, okay? Or disinformation, because there are times, and hold just for a second for me, but there are times that people give us disinformation and they know that that information isn't correct, but they give it to us anyway, okay? So we want to be aware of that as well, that they will give us what? Misinformation and disinformation, yes. So we want to be careful of that. Greetings, ATL in the house. Queen Octavia is in the house. So what I want to do is deal with the reset. And remember this, you all, while you're here, we are the People's Podcast. Yes, indeed. We are the People's Podcast because we're a FUBU. What? For us, by us. Okay. And remember, please, when you come in, do this for you, for me, and for us. Hit that share button. Okay, fam? Hit that share button. All right. So now we're going to talk about reset, because again, there is misinformation and disinformation. As I stated earlier, that was the information that was given, that there was going to be a rapture, that the people were going to be raptured out of here. And so that is a big component and part of what the church talks about, which is misinformation. And in some cases, disinformation, because there is no such thing as a rapture. That was constructed by some people that were having a meeting. And what they did was they began to disseminate that as if it was scriptural text. But it really isn't. And we'll get into that. Not today, but I'll get into that and show you all that that is a misnomer, that that is misinformation and in some cases disinformation. Okay? So there's not going to be a rapture. Now, what we typically deal with are resets. Things are reset, right? We go through certain ages, right? Nothing comes to an end, and I'm going to show you this. It's just in stages. It's not coming to an end. It's in stages. So if you look back in the old world, you'll find out that there were certain things that were done, and then those things came to an end. Let's just take just contemporary. If you look at Kemet or Mizraim or Tamari, which we call Egypt, if you look at that, what do you find? You find pyramids, right? But they can't find the people, master teacher, that built the pyramids. Yes. What happened to the people that built the pyramids? No one knows, because there was a reset. Things were reset. Okay, I'm gonna get to this because this is very important for us to understand about reset. If you look at that, the prefix on that, it is re. Re means to do over, with the implications that what was done was inadequate or impermanent. It wasn't meant to be permanent. It was just instituted, right? Yes. Okay, so Reset, then set means to put something in a position where it can be maneuvered, either forwards or backwards or up or down. Set. And also set means a number of things that have been conglomerated together for a purpose. So you have a set of these, you have a set of those, right? Set. So we have set time frames that we operate in. Yes. There are set times that there's going to be interaction. There's going to be building and destruction and different types of things at a set time. Okay? So now when you hear in the religious realm, and we're certainly not trying to pick on anyone, but when you hear in the religious realm that, oh, the world is going to come to an end, the world is not coming to an end. It's only going to be a reset. And Wind Down Wednesday, Master Teacher put out a particular scripture that shared that with you all. If he can post that again for us, I'll put it up so you guys can see it. Okay. So it's very important to understand that there is a great deal of misinformation and disinformation that is being given to us for the purpose of causing, one, confusion, two, and fear, right? Confusion and fear are great tools to disillusion the masses. Okay, I think y'all gonna hear me. Hey, K Vibes, Beaded Vibrations. Hey, the priestess is in the house. ATL, y'all represent South Kakalaki. Y'all represent. So when you think about that, fear and confusion is what's being propagated and perpetuated. Fear and confusion. How are they doing that? Through misinformation and what? Disinformation. Because they don't want you to know what the truth really is. See, the truth is the only thing that can make you free. Free where? In your thought processes, in your ability to think. In this particular time frame that we're in, the greatest thing that any individual can achieve is the ability to think and to have their own thoughts, right? A true teacher has the ability to cause you to have your own thoughts, the intuitive one, y'all. Craig Leverett is in the house. To have your own thoughts. Thoughts are very powerful. Now, let me get back to truth. See, truth is how things really appear. If you want to put it in a nutshell, truth is how things really appear. In other words, the truth creates clarity, right? It causes you to see how things really appear. And we've talked about this a number of times. Okay, fam? The truth causes you to see how things really appear. For example, we know what an apple is, right? We also know what an orange is, right? So because we know what those are, we know how to deal with them. We know the taste of an apple and we know the taste of an orange. We know that there is a difference. So with clarity, we understand the taste of an apple and the taste of an orange, and then we can, in our minds, make the right choice and the decision on either I want an apple or an orange. But what does confusion do? Confusion tricks you into believing maybe it could be an apple or it could be an orange. It could be maybe. Now you're throwing in confusion, right? Now, when you throw confusion in, confusion is also going to bring along with it fear. Now you have a fear of the taste of the apple. You have a fear of the taste of the orange. Why now? Because you're confused, right? So this is what they do with information. They twist the information up so that you don't want to hear the information. Because now you're what? Confused. And what? Fear has set in. And as a result of that, you're not going to make a choice. You're going to be in limbo. So now, when you don't make a choice, guess what happens? They give you one. Yes. With what? Suggestive thinking. They suggest to you what they want you to have so that they can cause you to think the way that they want you to think. Who am I talking about? The system for educational purposes only. I ain't talking about the system and those that operate the system, those that institute and download information into the system to program you. It's very important to note, to understand that this is all about programming. We're in a matrix. Every element of what's going on is dealing with programming. I don't think y'all. All of this is about programming. This is why their master teacher always has to be a reset. Yes, sir. Because there are people that will ascend to a position of authority, and they are the ones that make the choices and decisions of how people should behave or act. Yes. And this is what's happening right now. The behavior of the universe is being perpetuated by those that are running the system. And the system is built off of misinformation and disinformation. So what have they done? What they've done is masked the truth. They've taken away the ability for us to get to the truth by what? Releasing the ability for everyone now to speak their truth. Now, wait just 1 minute before you jump all over me. Everyone says, I have a right to speak my truth. You have a right to speak accordingly to how things are supposed to be. See, this is one of the things. Here's what people don't know, and I'm talking about it in my book called When You Get Struck. Truth was the most protected thing in antiquity. Everyone could not get to the truth, nor could they handle the truth. They had to go to school. And not only did they have to go to school, thank you for that. I'll be putting you guys' remarks up there so you can take a look at them. So not only did you have to go to school, but you had to be there for a certain period of time, right? Yes. You couldn't just go in and go through the classes and boom, boom, bam, bam, and you're out. No, you had an extended stay in the schools that were in Kemet or Mitzrayim or Tamari, or what we call Egypt now. Okay, it has had many names. So, but you have to go to school. So today, you may have to go to school, but you are not being challenged in a way that you could be productive with the information that you are getting, right? So why am I saying this? Because you can tell your truth, but your truth is not the truth. The truth is the only truth that will make us free. And I'm using the or the, which is a definite what? Article. That means what? The one of its kind. There's nothing else like it. Right? So this is why it's important. And to note, the truth is universal. Hear what I just said to you. The truth is universal. In other words, that means that when we get the truth, then my truth is going to line up with your truth. Right? I don't care what religion that you're in or what walk of life that you're in. When you get the truth always has a common thread. Did you hear me? The truth always has a common thread. Now, here's the thing. Here's what we're missing. I have a piece of the truth. Master teacher have a piece of it. So if he have a piece and I have a piece, then our parts should do what? Align. Right? Not that we're saying the same thing, but what we've come to enter and understand is that there is the commonality that brings us to the same ideal or the same what? Point. And we've missed it. Are you hearing me? We've missed that. Why? Why have we missed it? Because again, what? Misinformation and disinformation. This is what they're doing to us. Now, let me get back to something that I was stating earlier, and I'm going to get us out of here. Before I go into that, let me say this. Master teacher, there's 3 stages that this realm goes through.
Yes, sir.
And you're a mathematician. It's 3, but really 4, and it's more than 4, but it's 4 that we can readily put our finger on. But 1 is going to be a gas state.
Yes, sir.
Then there's going to be a liquid state. And then there is going to be a solid state, right?
Yes.
Okay, here's what we do understand. That gas is going to bring us into the realm of what? Carbon dioxide or carbon, right? The gas realm. So we've had that realm because we are what? Carbon.
Yes.
We're carbon beings. Melanin is comprised of carbon, right? Stick with me. I know I'm running through this, but you can go back and listen to it. Why am I saying this? Because it's very important. So that first state, that when the universe expanded or terraformed, it was based off of what? Carbon. We're carbon beings. Even for educational purposes only, even our European counterparts. Our European counterparts are also comprised of what? Carbon. If you leave them out of the grave long enough, guess what happens? They turn black. Why? Because of the carbon. Okay, so we've had that ram. Okay, so we come to the next ram, which is liquid, right? So then what we do understand is that at one particular point in time, that this ram or this earth or Eretz was covered in what? Water. Water was on the first face of the what? Earth, if you go with the narrative of the biblical story, right? So it was covered with water. Okay, so we've had that state. So also the state that we've had, also we know what the water did. The water what? Froze, became a solid. Everything has been frozen once, right? So we're dealing with that. Now, here's the one that they don't get into. Also, there is ether.
Yes.
There's ether. We're not trying to tell you something you may not already know. We're just giving expression and voice to it. Okay? Because it's nothing like hearing something that you say, oh, I knew that, and you have that aha moment. I knew that, right? Yeah. You get to have jamais vu. Yeah. So the reason why I'm getting to this is because what I want you to know is that all of those are resets. They're going to keep resetting. All we're going through is a rehearsal. And let me show you something. Let me see if I can get to my notes and pull this on here for you. Okay. Now, when you look at the word end, when they say where the world is going to end, when you look at that word there in the Greek, it is the Greek word haion. Haion is where we get our English word ion from, which is a what? A particle, an atom.
Yes, sir.
Right? It's talking about particles. So then we know that particles cannot be destroyed. We know that energy cannot what? Be created nor what? Nor destroyed. So that means then that the only thing that it can keep doing is terraforming and what? Resetting. Starting over again and again and again. But take, for example, if the church understood their own information, they would then understand that nothing dies. It is revised, right? So if you, let's take the, for example, biblical narrative of Christ. They executed him, right, Master Teacher?
Yes.
Right, Fabal? Yes. They executed him, but in 3 days he did what? He didn't he get up?
Yes.
So that means that he didn't what? He didn't die. He went to a different realm and was able to project himself back through the avatar that he was in, or the body that he was in. See, when you start getting into the truth, see, the truth is strange, as the saying goes, stranger than fiction.
Yes.
Isn't that something? The truth is stranger than fiction. So why is this important to understand this? It say he got up on the 3rd day. Then it say he dispersed his particles and disappeared. What did he disappear to? He took apart the atoms and went back into what? Everything. Because why? Everything is what? Everything. Everything is everything. We are everything. And everything is us. Right? Okay. So now, again, expressing this and explaining this, that we only stop to start again. As still Paul said, we only stop to start again. This is not over. Now, there's the narrative out there saying, oh, the reason why you have to continue to come back again is because of karma, something that you did that was wrong, and so you have to continue to repeat it. Listen, let me explain something to you all. I do not believe in karma. I don't think it exists. But however, what I do know is that reciprocity exists, and that is a law. Reciprocity is a law, right? The reciprocation. In other words, whatsoever you sow, you what? You reap, right? So if you take a kernel of corn and sow it in the ground, what's going to come up? Corn, right? It's the same thing with anything. Whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. Now, that's the law of reciprocity. That's not the law of karma. You can take and define that any kind of way that you want to. Now, if karma was truly in existence and doing what it is designed to do, why in the world those that are perpetrating the evil has not been dealt with? And they have been able to continue from their point in period of time. Misinformation and disinformation. That's why it's time for a reset. You need to reset your thinking. You need to analyze the information that is being given to you and who is giving it to you, right? Is it a neophyte that's giving you the information, right? Or is it a lifelong learned teacher? Who's giving you the information, right? I'm not saying that we don't listen to people that has something to say that is pertinent. However, I am saying that you should not bend your ear to those that are unlearned. Why do you think we have elders? We have elders for the purpose of wisdom. Wisdom isn't given overnight. And we talked about something some time ago. We talked about mature ignorance, right? You all have met people that were mature for their age. And if you entertain a relationship with them, what you found out as you got further into the relationship, that there were some things that were lacking in their ability to perform because they were what? Ignorant. They didn't have the what? Wisdom. Right? See, wisdom comes through experience. However, we can learn through others' experiences, or we can download that. And if a situation happens or the environment becomes conducive for it to be utilized, then we can utilize it for that purpose. But it is not that makeup of us, that level of wisdom. So now we have to bag up and really assess. Okay? So wisdom. Wisdom is a principal thing. Right? Wisdom is the principal thing. With wisdom, also, it is going to, more often than not, those that have wisdom generally have a lifespan that's filled with success. Are you hearing me? This is the truth session, baby. This is where you come and we put it out. And you can share, talk back to me. If you want to come on with me and share, you can come on with me too. We can do that too. We can do all of that. We can make it happen in the truth session. Now, please note while I'm here that we are demonstrating with new software. We are trying to work out all the kinks, all the bugs, and get everything where we need it to be so that we can bring you guys better podcast, because we are the people's podcast, baby. FUBU, for us, by us, right? And you landed in the truth session. So now, again, look at truth as I expressed it to you. Just take a look at it as I expressed it to you. Visualize it in your mind as I express truth to you, so that when you are listening to people, listen for a certain sound of maturity with a hint of wisdom if they're not old enough to have a complete shelf of it, right? Listen for a hint of it. And then you note that, okay, maybe I shouldn't demonstrate with this. Isn't that something? Yeah. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to get back to the word end, E-N-D. And I share with you all that what it is, the Greek word ion, which we get our English word ion from it. But one of the things that it means, again, it means to move up and down, backwards and forward, from side to side. That's what particles do. They spin, they flip, they move. That's what particles do. So what you're looking at, when we look at each other, family, when we look at each other, check this out. When we look at each other, what we're actually looking at are particles that are slowed down to create mass. But if you sped us up, what would happen, Master Teacher? You wouldn't see us. We would be what? Invisible. So what is happening is our particles have been slowed down so that it could create mass. And mass is going to create what? Matter. So then we coined the phrase what? As a matter of fact. Sifar Mishalai, which some call Proverbs, Master Teacher put it out there for us. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get an understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. And see, what wisdom gives us is knowledge. They're reciprocal. They work together, knowledge and wisdom. Isn't that something? Let me see what I'm missing here. Okay. All right. I'm just searching the timeline, fam. There it is. This is what I wanted to put up there. And we're almost about finished. Kohalith. Kohalith is the actual name for what they call Ecclesiastes. Okay? Or ecclesias. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth for what? Ever. Listen to this, and this is according to the biblical narrative that the church demonstrates with, but they don't read to get an understanding. Listen to what it says. It said, one generation passeth away, and another generation comes, but the earth abideth forever, which means that there's going to be a what? A reset. There's going to be a reset. Listen, it can be proven. You can look it up. You don't have to take my word for it. You can look it up. There's already been nuclear warfare on the earth. When you get to India and Pakistan, there is a particular area that you can't even go into because there has been nuclear warfare. There was a nuclear war. There are things that have already happened that we lack the knowledge of because there was a reset. There's plenty of information out there that proves this point, that there's been resets. Okay, so it's very important to understand that so that you don't get caught up in disinformation and misinformation. Now, let me get to the word "in" for you again, which is Hayan. And here's some of what it means. Let me pull this up. It means age. One of the things it means age. Age doesn't mean end. Okay? And by extension, perpetuity, meaning also past. Hold on. Wait a minute. The end. The end also, Master Teacher, means the past. So in other words, what it is saying is then your end is your beginning and your beginning is your end, which puts you in a 360-degree cycle. which means that you will always perpetually continue on in continuation, that you will always be. You cannot not be. Kun fayakun, we call it in the Arabic, meaning be, exist. In hayah, in the Hebrew, meaning to exist or come into existence. See, when it is saying come into existence, what it is saying is let yourself be, because you already are, because you have already been. Are you hearing me? Because you've already been. See, every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of you've already been, because you'll tell yourself, that's happened before. So what do they call it? Deja vu. Right? Deja vu. Ooh, that happened before. Because why? You've done it before. And you're going to do it again. Now, what tends to happen is that we do things, master teacher, in Fireball, until we perfect things. Right? And move on to the next thing. So we get caught in a state of what, master teacher, when we keep going over a certain thing over and over again. We get caught in an infinite loop, a state of flux. So when we get caught in that infinite loop, what has to happen is that each time we go around in that loop, we're to gather information so that we'll know not to do that again. Or what to do to not do that again. Right? I'm giving some information. If you go back and listen to it, it makes plenty of sense. So again, your end is your beginning is your end. Okay. Also, it means eternal. The end means eternal. So if something is eternal, it means that it is incapable of ever coming to an end. So basically, we have been misinformed or disinformed that all things are going to end and no longer exist. How can that which is eternal not exist? It has and always will. Again, we spoke it earlier. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It has the ability to take on other shapes and forms. But however, in taking on those shapes and forms, it can only take on that which it is consistent with. So in other words, if we are eternal beings, we cannot come back as a horse, a dog, or a cow. That's the misnomer of reincarnation. I don't buy into reincarnation, because that roach is not my brother. You look at a roach and say, he look like my brother. I'm going to let that roach live because he looked like my brother. That's an insect or a pest, right? That has a design purpose. And that design purpose is all that it can and ever will be able to do. It will never have a higher level of thought processes where it thinks as the eternal beings do. See the folly? When people try to get you to buy into that, that's folly. And for educational purposes only, because I'm not attempting to attack anyone's religion, anyone's belief. For educational purposes only. Okay? Now, so with that in tow, it means eternal. Not only does it mean eternal, y'all, but guess what it also means? It means the world that begins without end. It means the world that begins without end. Isn't that something? Let's look back at what Master Teacher had put out there in Kohaleth. Look at this. You gonna drop it again, Master Teacher? Okay, cool. So I won't have to go back up and search for it. Okay, gratitude. Okay. All right. There it is. Gratitude, Master Teacher. Look at that. So this is what we just said. It means world that begins without end. Isn't that something? So look at what that harmonizes with Kohaleth, doesn't it? Look at that. So it says what? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. Meaning that it's never going to end. Don't let nobody turn you around. Master Teacher, I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. I ain't let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, I keep on talking, marching on the victory land. Or something to that nature. But anyway, at any rate, I'm just here to reassure you that you're going to do this so many times that you're going to forget you done did it. Did you catch that, Master Teacher?
Yes, sir.
You're going to do it so many times, you're going to forget that you did it. And then you'll start having sparks of recall. You'll start recalling, oh, I did that. And seeing some of us have the ability to tap into it so easily and so good that we can tell you what's getting ready to happen next as a result of having already experienced it so many times. Reset. Reset. Go ahead and tell yourself that. Say it to yourself. Reset. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Reset. You see, this is where we at. Reset. But we're going to have an amazing season. The Master Teacher and I, we're going to get busy. And I want you all to give him a black hand. Give him a black hand for that work on the quantum elements, probability, possibility, potentiality, all of it. He brought it to us and laid it in our lap and gave us free game. But listen, as he placed out there already, family, we can't do this without you all, right? We do need your financial help. We're upgrading the software. There's some other software that we need. You all in this software is not cheap. You got to pay through the nose for it. Okay, there's so that we want to be able to take these vids and be able to chop them up, put them in shorts, because unfortunately there are some whose attention span isn't that long, and that's okay because you're building it. You're retraining and teaching your mind because we've been programmed a certain way, fam. But we're here to assist and help in any kind of way that we can. So if you have the ability to do so, please donate. Cash App and PayPal is on the banner. Also, it's tagged out there by Master Teacher. Thank you, Queen Octavia, for your donation. Thank you, JP, for your donation. Thank all of you all for donating your time. Thank you for tuning in. Okay. And let me check this timeline. Okay. All right. and we'll get out of here. JP says, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Thank you. Beat It Vibrations. Y'all, I'm draped. Y'all got to get this paraphernalia, man. It is off the chain. Look at here. I am draped. Yes, indeed. She had me out there mobbing. Yes, indeed. So let me check the timeline before we get out of here. Master Teacher said, mic drop. I see you, K Vibes. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Trying to get you guys. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Trying to get you all out there so when people go back and look, they can see how everyone was participating. And as always, Queen Octavia says, good nuggets to digest on. Okay. The priestess, LaVale. Okay. Right. Thank you, JP, for putting it out there. Thank you all for putting it out there. Okay. Thank you, Master Teacher, for your donation. Yes, indeed. So again, if you have a business, Master Teacher also jumpstart your cognition. I was trying to think of it on Wednesday night. I had that wine in me. Also has a program. Anyone else, if you have a business, please put it on the timeline, right? If you have a website, put it on the timeline, right? So we can patronize you, okay? Again, you all know that this is FUBU, for us, by us. I don't charge you for advertisement. You all know that. So if you get in here and get it on there, I'll get it out there for you. So before we get off, shout out T Swin, Men Can't Always Be Wrong podcast, who has been a great help and tutor to me with this new software that we're putting together. Shout out to a constituent of his, She Trucking. Shout out to J Love, Reverend Tia, turning a moment into a movement. Shout out to CTR, Dr. Tina. Shout out to Black Moses Freedom Festival, Queen Basu. Who am I missing? I'd love to give the shouts out because it's very important for us to do this for each other. Also to Rosalind McLean. Shout out to her. Author. Shout out to Dr. Clea. Shout out to DJ Boogie. Shout out to LL, Lou Legend, the MC, ATL, baby. And shout out to you all. Thank you all for joining us for the reset of the Truth Session. And shout out to none other than the Master Teacher, the Quantum Shifter, the Shape Shifter, the Code Breaker, baby. You understand me? That holds this demonstration down. Shout out also to my staff, the Prince of Peace, JP, Songbird, Kina, Baby Songbird, Kafira. Also, those that you don't see, Kizzy, Dr. J.C. Richardson, that you don't see, that is a part of us. Number one KP, baby, Kimberly Purdue, out of the Chi-Town, that you all don't see, but that's here. Also, Tracy and Anthony Love that you don't see. Shout out to you all. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Listen, continued success in all of your endeavors. And as always, do what? Hold what you got. Muse over it. Cogitate upon it. Ponder on it. Meditate upon it. But by all means, do what? Govern yourselves accordingly. One, love, eternal light, peace, power, prosperity, In the words of the Prince of Peace, excellent, excellent health. Shalom Aleichem Mishpachar, meaning peace be unto you, family. It also means prosperity. It also means long life. And it also means success. So we're not saying that to try to sound good, but it has meaning. It's prophetic, right? It's an affirmation. So you ought to say it when you get up in the morning. Go ahead and say it to yourself one time. Shalom Aleichem Mishpachar. Mishpachar means family. I love you all. This is a fun time for us here. Listen, don't forget that this is the People's Podcast. And join us in Wind Down Wednesday, Therapy with a Sip, Grown Folk Conversation. Say it one time, Grown Folk Conversation. Grown Folk Conversation. I love you all. Thank you all. And we'll meet again at the appointed time.